Hello Giants fans, welcome to Giants Baseball 101. I'm Gabe Vaughn, your host. The Giants beat the Marlins 7-5 today. They worked around a pretty bad start from Alex Wood where he allowed 4 runs. They got things going with the bats. Patrick Bailey and J.D. Davis had home runs. And with Bailey, you just got to say, with the home run power the Giants already have, the fact that he was able to hit one is highly encouraging. They can use all the added home run power they can get. Honestly, I have to say that his homer today is a real booster. He was just recently called up. Having another guy who is showing some power is just great, and of course time has to tell whether he'll be a real big home run hitter. We hope so, but I mean, it was just great to see that. And I mean, the bullpen was good. Again, Ryan Walker making his MLB debut pitched a scoreless inning. Jakob Junis, too, was effective, pitching 2 scoreless innings. So, working as a short reliever out of the bullpen at least, it seems that Junis is getting the job done for the Giants. And not just in terms of the ability to mop up innings that don't matter, but getting it done when it really does matter for the Giants. And that's a good thing. So, I think that notwithstanding what we saw from Tyler Rogers yesterday, which wasn't too encouraging, I think other than that, we just have to say the bullpen is looking a lot better right now, and that's really been the key to the Giants' success this entire week. They've won this second series in a row. And again, is it a little disappointing that it wasn't a sweep? Well, yeah, but it still was a great week for the Giants. They swept the first series. Now they've beaten the Marlins, taking 2 games out of 3. They won 2, they lost 1. So this really just ends a great week for the Giants. And I want to try to deal with the question, basically, where do the Giants stand right now? Basically what we're asking is what now? What comes next for the Giants in terms of trying to get into contention this year? And what a related question would be, what are we going to be hearing about them in that respect in the near future? And is there the fact that we're not hearing too much about like who they're going to add on in the trade deadline and those kind of related questions, is that to be taken in a negative light, or what's going to go on? And there's probably some extended things that could be said about that are really beyond the scope of this video, which I won't get into, but I do want to deal with kind of the main things behind this here. Like right now, what's up? Where do the Giants stand? Well, first of all, we realize that the draft is coming up in June. And what's significant about that? Well, I think it's highly likely that the media is going to give the draft a lot of attention. They're going to be reaching out to Giants fans to try to get their attention on this. The draft, and particularly featuring the Giants' first few picks, the guys that look like the top prospects, that's what's going to get just a lot of attention from the media. And for some of you guys, that's probably great, but if you're more, if you're more astute and think about this a little bit deeper, you might just be thinking, well, I mean, I kind of wonder, are the prospects the Giants draft actually that great, or is that just an attempt to distract Giants fans from what they might think is going on in terms of the season and what might be happening to their immediate chances of contention? Put a little bit differently, it could, and certainly it would if the Giants looked kind of hopelessly out of contention, maybe even if they weren't so far back they couldn't get back into it, but they were just kind of out several games, and it was looking like, and it was clear that fans weren't having a real good time watching them. That's where they try to give a whole ton of attention to the draft because they know that they have to do that to keep the attention of fans. That's what the media would know that they had to do. But what about right now? And what if things kind of continue the way they are, where the Giants are in a precarious situation where like the season could go one way or another? Well, I still expect that they're going to emphasize the draft strongly. The real question, I think, and I mean every team does this to an extent, and probably rightly so, but I think the real question for the Giants is, are they, and it's probably, again, it's probably not the organization, it's more the media side, which is a little bit different. Are they going to oversell the top draft picks and the new acquired prospect maybe in a well-meaning attempt to keep the attention of Giants fans? Well, I think that's a possibility. Now, whether they did that to any of the real well-known prospects like Kyle Harrison, was his progress and his development like oversold by the media, particularly late last year, in an attempt to keep disheartened Giants fans focused on the team? I have to say, I don't know. I wouldn't try to infer that just from his bad performance in spring training. I wouldn't go that route. He probably just needs to develop, and he might be called up. Like I'm thinking maybe September this year. It might happen before, so I probably wouldn't infer that there. You could probably go too far down this road, but I'm just saying the question is it possible that they're going to oversell prospects who maybe weren't quite as great as they thought in an attempt to keep the focus of Giants fans? And I don't know about that, but I think either way it is a fact that they're going to give they're going to put a lot of emphasis on the June draft, and especially the Giants' top picks, and they're going to want you to really be paying that a lot of attention. I think just whichever way the season goes, like from here until then. And why is that? Well, I think, and I'm not speaking for you all. You can speak for yourselves in the comment section if you want to, but I do think right now that if I had to make my guess, I think that a lot of Giants fans are really feeling not too good about this. I think if you asked a lot of Giants fans, they'd say that they just don't feel very good about the Giants' playoff chances. And this really just comes, I think, from the Giants' just recent failures and the fact that they never make the postseason when it's close, and they're just way back out of the race and all that. That's probably the reason for that. But I think that a lot of fans right now are probably feeling down in the dumps. And that raises a question, over this past week where the Giants just like killed it and won 5 out of 6 games, has that changed all of that? Like how are the fans feeling like right now, tonight, as we speak? Well, first of all, they're probably feeling better about this. I mean, there's no one who wouldn't at least get kind of excited about it, but I mean, on the other hand, the Giants have had hot streaks that they haven't been able to really follow through with this year. And while it's certainly better than just being consistently bad, seems like every time they gain ground, they lose it again. And I mean, with an improved bullpen and all that, we can hope, I think, going forward that won't continue to be the case, and the team will work in conjunction, and that will, But I think that the overall perspective in the minds of Giants fans, and you all who are watching me right now, I don't know about you, but I think that it's going to be maybe some work to really put hope back in the minds of Giants fans for a run, this year, or even really in the near future. I'm just saying kind of in general for the most part. I try to keep this kind of like objectively focused on just some things without speculating too much on the opinions of random people. But in this case, I just thought this was probably a good thing to mention. So I think that probably the media at least has a sense of this, and they're going to realize that it's their job to keep all of the fans focused and to keep their attention from turning, and for that reason, I think they're going to put a ton of emphasis on the draft. So if there are any of you who are a little bit more, who might already have a sense of that, who might be wary of it, or maybe you're just thinking, I don't want to hear about guys who are going to get to the big leagues 4 years from now. I want to hear about right now. I'm just not, maybe that's all you're thinking, but if we get to that time, it might actually be discouraging to some of you if you're thinking like the whole chance for this season is over. However, if we just remember in the context of the situation, it might happen this way because of the fact that everybody who covers the Giants knows they need to keep their readers and viewers and all that. If we see that as a reason behind it, then it's probably not a predictor of what will actually happen with the Giants this year. Yes, it will still require some responsibility on the part of the front office that they really haven't shown in the past at the trade deadline. But all I'm saying is that the possibility of the Giants reaching the postseason, it's definitely still going to be, it's still alive. And I think that this week has really, that the Giants have really pushed it forward some more. So I wouldn't say that the Giants just think they're out of contention if we, if there's, we just see a lot of content out there that seems to be future-based. I would still, my answer to that would probably be we just wait till it gets deeper into the year, and the Giants have come back from, like in 2019, I realized they didn't make the wild card, but I mean, they got back into contention from a significantly worse position than this, that's for sure. So if they can kind of just start here and then really, if they're able to push forward, then I think there is a good chance of them getting, into the wild card game. And it's just because, I mean, we know, like, after the draft in July comes the All-Star game, and it's, I'm not sure that there are any Giants who are really gonna be selected to that. I mean, maybe, but you know it is, like, talent's spread out on their roster, but as far as choosing any one Giant to compete in the All-Star game, who would it be? And maybe Logan Webb. I mean, he's had to get some stuff together, but now he's looking good, and probably, Camilo Doval, and on the offensive side we could find a few guys too. But I just don't know there's anyone who's like definitely going to be in the All-Star game, and that's probably, I don't know that would really create a positive impression in anyone's mind. But you just got to remember the Giants kind of survive off of really being solid as a team. And then obviously the trade deadline comes after that, and that's what might decide it all for the Giants. In the final 2 months following that, they definitely have to win games. So thank you for watching. This has been Giants Baseball 101. Please subscribe if you haven't. Also, please leave your questions and comments. You know where to do it. I'll see you next time on Giants Baseball 101.